Yo, hey. So, the purpose of this video is just going to be to show off some of the more specific and advanced movement techniques. Normally when you flip up like that from crawling, there's a delay before you can move again. But if you have the net equipped and you're holding the right stick in a direction, like forwards, backwards, doesn't matter where, the pause isn't there and you can just keep going. So, you can only jump so high normally. But the net kind of makes you go a little higher when you swing it at the same time you jump, and you can take advantage of that. If you swing it at the same time that you double jump and then you switch to another gadget, then you go a little higher, and it lets you ledge grab things. Whereas if you just swung the net, you wouldn't be able to grab anything. You can combine that with the Sky Flyer. When you use the Sky Flyer, it has a set height that it takes you, even if you do a single jump or a double jump, same height. But if you cancel the net swing into it, and you do it properly, then you go way higher. If you do it too soon or too late, then you won't get that result. But with a little practice, you can get that boost fly. You can also use the stun club in the air to fall faster. You swing it and then cancel to something else, and you just immediately start falling. It's useful for grabbing ledges, like over here. Let's say normally you have to wait a little bit, because you kind of pop above it, but you get a faster ledge grab that way by using the stun club cancel. Other things that kind of act weird in the air, you use the magnet in the air, you're set to a standing position. There we go. I need to actually show it off a few times. That's not really terribly useful. The one that is useful though is the slingshot. Slingshot sets you to a standing position just like the magnet does, but there is one additional quality that it has that is useful, and that is when the slingshot is activated, you can crawl. And the only reason that's useful is because the game doesn't check to apply gravity to you if you're crawling. Normally, if you pull this out, you're set to standing, but then you fall back down anyway, because the game expects you to try to use the slingshot in the air. But since it doesn't know to check for gravity, it'll just keep applying whatever your current upwards or downwards speed was. So you jump, pull out slingshot, start crawling, and then cancel it. Well, not cancel the crawl, you cancel the slingshot. And because I was jumping at the time, I'm moving upwards right now. And that lets me do things like get out of bounds. If you wait a little bit, you can kind of stall, kind of float in the air. So you can use this to get across large gaps without having to fall all the way back down. There is another use for that air walking bit. It's a little odd. It's a weird element of it. If you do it off of a single jump, if you do it super fast, then something really weird happens. Okay, here we are. So this is something that's called ghosting. You're kept in a perpetual perfect elevation, you're not moving up or down at all. And you can go through slips. You can't go through solid walls. It's only slopes, like staircases, actual perfectly sloped locations and things like that. You can flip up to get onto this floor if you really want to. You can do anything you can normally do while crawling. Problem is, once you go too far out of bounds like this, then the game starts pushing you downwards, and you will eventually die because there's nothing you can do about it. You can try to use the Sky Flyer, but it doesn't pull you up because you are already moving downwards. Sometimes you may be in a situation where you don't want to be going too high up. Say you're trying to cross a gap or something and you accidentally get a really fast airwalk upwards. You can cancel it by two methods. You're near a wall, you can hit it with something. Works with any contact item, anything you can hit something with, really. The other way is to pull out the slingshot again and then cancel it again. it's slowing me down and even sending me back towards the ground now, if you do it enough times or if you wait long enough. There's a heck of a lot of things you can do using the boost tube. It has a lot of interesting qualities. For one thing, whether you start it by moving or standing still influences how it behaves. Let me use this area right here as a good example. There's a little drop off right here. So if you were running with the boost tube and you would fall, and because of the change in elevation, you have to start up the hoop again, which is a little bit of a time waster. But if you activate the hoop when you're standing still, then you run across it, you just go, no problem. You don't stop, despite the tiny change in elevation. Big changes in elevation, like where you go into your falling animation, those are ones this doesn't work on. But because of this, like when you walk off of it, there's no like animation change. These are the situations where the like neutral hoop thing works properly. You can just keep going without stopping, really. The hoop also behaves differently, whether you're like holding the stick while moving. A good example of this would be right here. Normally, if you're just running off and you're holding forwards the whole time, you don't go terribly far, you just kind of drop off. But if you let go of the left stick, then you're still moving forwards. I'm not holding the left stick right now. So if you're not holding left stick, then you don't slow down in the air and you go a tiny bit farther. Something else you can do with that similar kind of concept, you only bounce off of things if you're holding towards them. If I let go, then I don't bounce off the wall. You can use wall bouncing in a couple of areas, like you get a little bit of extra speed from bouncing off of them, so you hold towards it and then away really quickly. So that's pretty nice. You can buffer the activation. So like for example, when you're starting out for the first time, main character kind of pauses a little bit before going. But if you activate it and then switch to another gadget, it still holds the fact that you started it, but you didn't have to like wait for as long. So I'm moving all the way over here, and activation was pretty much instantaneous. It depends on the timing. You can still have a tiny bit of a pause or no pause at all. And now the final and probably most useful thing. The same concept that applied in that spot where you ran off and didn't hold the left stick so you didn't slow down in the air, you can use that to make really long jumps too. So in this spot, I'm just going to hold forward the whole time. And I wasn't really close to making it. But if I let go of the left stick as soon as I jump, then you get quite a bit closer, and you can make it all the way across. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching.